has to do in your very good and very specific presentation when you referred to the fact that in the case of the Americas, we have not yet attained the figures that had been forecast. You only mentioned as an important factor that of September 11. I would rather go in accordance with what Mr. de Villiers said. But do you have another element which, in the opinion of your working group, what was the reason for not being able to get to that figure? And the other thing is that in another of your slides, when you showed the countries that grew in excess of the average, we could suggest, maybe at some other time, these countries did not grow over the average just because of the Holy Spirit? No, because most surely the menu of public and private policies were effective. And most probably many of the destinations in those examples would be able to find opportunities to carry out comparisons and to be able to grow in a more effective manner. And the second suggestion, which is perhaps more complex, we have the feeling that at some point, even when the organization makes significant efforts, if perhaps we could have a ranking on cities, to begin with the capital cities, and I'm talking in terms of international arrivals and the expenditures. It would be useful to begin maybe by doing this with the capital cities. Thank you, Mark. Regarding the Americas, there I didn't have too much time to be able to explain everything in depth. That's why I didn't go into this more in depth. But I believe that the economic problems of South America have somewhat contributed to this. But this is a region, when compared with the other regions, which has a very strange behavior, because it has a market for destinations and also a market for tourists going out. And so this has a lot of weight, even more than in the United States. And so Central America has also grown quite well, but from a low base. And we have South America, and I personally feel that it has even more potential. But this potential has not yet been seen as clearly as that of Asia, Africa, and the Middle East. So that's a task that's pending there. There's another interesting piece of work that can be found in the web page, which is the Ibero-American tourism and we did this at the Secretariat, where we had an X-ray done of the countries as a whole in this group with data as to how they've grown, and where we see some opportunities, threats, possibilities. I don't know if you know this document. If I would, however, advise that you get a copy of that document. Now, regarding the policies, we have the topic of competitiveness, which is one of the topics that I would like to look at in further depth. And I think there's a lot there on tourism policies, and this is clearly an element that we want to emphasize. Regarding the cities, I fear that my news is not that good. This would require tremendous efforts, and because of the limited resources that we have, I don't see too many possibilities in order to look at this in greater depth. At the barometer, however, we do have data corresponding to cities and important destinations. This is a very important topic as far as arrivals. It's difficult, but when we start measuring this, sometimes it's looked at from a different point of view.